wages and benefits required to get ahead. A new measure called the Job Quality Index recently found there is now a growing number of lower paying jobs relative to employment with above average pay. For the U.S. overall, median household income is $66,465 a year, according to Centier Research, with roughly half of families earning less than that amount. Workers aren't shy about expressing their frustrations, with 6 to 10 workers saying their jobs are mediocre to downright bad, according to a recent Gallup job quality survey. For instance, 1 in 5 workers told Gallup their benefits are worse now than 5 years ago. Low-wage jobs represent between 1/3 to 2/3 of all jobs in the country's almost 400 metropolitan areas, Brookings found. Man, 1 to 2/3. Smaller cities in the South and West tend to have the highest share, such as New Mexico, Jacksonville, North Carolina, where more than 60% of workers are low wage. But not all small cities in the South and West have a high proportion of low-paid jobs. Places with some of the highest wages and most productive economies are home to large numbers of low-wage workers. Nearly 1 million in Washington, D.C., in the Washington, D.C. region, 700,000 each in Boston and San Francisco, and 560,000 in Seattle, Ross and Bateman wrote. But, they added, the issue can't entirely be addressed by improving workers' skills, since low-wage jobs reflect the strength of the local economy. Recent research suggests there simply are not enough jobs paying decent wages for people without college degrees, who make up the majority of the labor force, to escape low-wage work. In other words, even if low-wage workers undergo job training and learn new skills, they're not guaranteed to find a good-paying jobs anywhere near where they currently live. So what makes a good job? Simply put, middle-class wages and benefits like health insurance, according to previous research from Brookings, but only about 30 million Americans have good jobs by that definition. 30 million out of over 350 million, man. Look, and most of those are held by workers with college degrees, it found. The actual reality is that Americans are working but aren't earning enough to gain stable economic footings. As Ross and Bateman noted, nearly half of all workers earn wages that are not enough on their own to promote economic security. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the point of this whole system. The system don't want you to have no money left over. The system just wants you to have just barely enough money to pay all your bills, to pay all the companies you owe. The property owners, the light company, the mobile phone company, stimulate the economy, and they ain't really tripping. Public don't care if you got bread left over. It's not even their problem. You can't even get a Happy Meal for under $5 no more. Stuff is crazy. Moving forward, though, check it out. Illinois, holla at you. Illinois' unfounded pension liabilities rise to $137.3 billion. I'm back on Reuters. Illinois' growing unfunded pension liability, which increased by $3.8 billion to $137.3 billion at the end of fiscal year 2019, underscores the need for state action to boost funding or cut costs. Analysts said today the increase was fueled by actuarially insufficient state contributions and lower than expected investment returns, according to the new state legislative report. Illinois has the lowest credit rating among U.S. states, at a notch or two above the junk level, due to its huge unfunded pension liability and chronic structural budget deficit. Eric Kim, a Fitch ratings analyst, said growth in the unfunded liability is expected to continue as long as contributions lag actuarial requirements and pension benefits are protected under the Illinois Constitution. Quote, for us, what this all speaks to is the state addressing fundamental structural budget challenges. Earlier this year, Governor J.B. Pritzker created pension task forces, including one to explore asset sales to boost pension funding. Lawrence Msall, president of Chicago-based government finance watchdog, the Civic Federation, said the state has not effectively attacked core pension problems, including unsustainable costs. Quote, at best, Illinois is running in place while trying to avoid sliding downhill, he said. With the expectation of small decrease in fiscal 2017, the unfunded liability has been climbing since fiscal 2011, when it stood at $83.1 billion. State's annual pension contribution, which totals $9.2 billion in fiscal 2020, is projected to reach $10.14 billion in fiscal 2022, according to the legislative report. The funding ratio for the 5-state retirement system improved slightly. Illinois sold $300 million in general obligation bonds in April to fund buyout payments, which totaled $115 million. Meanwhile, the head of conservative think tank asked Illinois appellate court to overturn a lower court ruling that tossed a constitutional challenge to $16 billion of state general obligation bonds issued in part to fund pensions. That's no good. People are leaving Illinois. They're out of here. People are out. People are super out. Let me get to this one. Where we at? Next, I think this is important. PepsiCo. This is on Reuters. Pepsi, the company PepsiCo makes biggest public pre-order of Tesla semis. 100 trucks. I've been talking about these Tesla semis, man. You know, they have an operator in the first semi. They're all electric. And they have like 3, 4, maybe even 5 semis in series running directly behind them. And those are all going to be autonomous. So you're going to be running like 4 to 5 semis with only one, quote, operator. This is how, man, look, this stuff is coming. Well, PepsiCo bought 100 of these trucks, man. PepsiCo has reserved 100 of Tesla's new electric semi-trucks, the largest known order of the big rig, as the maker of Mountain Dew soda and Doritos chips seeks to reduce fuel costs and fleet emissions, a company executive said. Tesla has been trying to convince the trucking community that it can build an affordable electric big rig with the range and cargo capacity to compete with relatively low-cost, time-tested diesel trucks. Several transportation firms are holding off on the Tesla for now, citing uncertainty over the time it takes to recharge compared to a diesel fill-up, range and payload capabilities, and how the market for electric commercial vehicles would develop. About 260,000 heavy-duty Class 8 trucks are produced in North America annually, according to FTR, the industry economics research firm. Navistar International Corp. and Volkswagen's AG's Truck and Bus are working to launch an electric medium-duty truck by late 2019, while rival Daimler AG has delivered the first of the smaller range of electric trucks to customers in New York. PepsiCo's 100 trucks add to orders by more than a dozen companies such as Walmart, fleet operator J.B. Hunt Transport Services. I'm telling you, truckers, man, hope y'all paying attention, man. J.B. Hunt Transport Services and food service distribution company Cisco. Tesla has at least 285 truck reservations in hand, according to a Reuters tally. PepsiCo intends to deploy Tesla semis for shipments of snack foods and beverages between manufacturing and distribution facilities and direct to retailers within the 500-mile range promised by Tesla chief executive Elon Musk. The semi-trucks will complement PepsiCo's U.S. fleet of nearly 10,000 big ribs and are a key part of its plan to reduce. Okay, look, it's going to complement the fleet. It's not going to replace it. It's just going to complement our current fleet. Y'all just chill. That's what they're trying to tell you. I ain't buying it. A key part of its plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across the supply chain by a total of at least 20% by 2030, said Mike O'Connell, Senior Director of North American Supply Chain for PepsiCo subsidiary Frito-Lay. PepsiCo is analyzing what routes are better for its Tesla trucks, but sees a wide range of uses for lighter loads like snacks or short shipments of heavier beverages. Tesla declined to comment on its customers and potential customers to date. Tesla's electric semi-truck was unveiled when was it unveiled? This thing cut off. It was unveiled last year, I think it was, but I'm not sure, man. But the printer cut off, so I guess we We're going to have to do our own research on that. Homeland Security wants to use facial recognition on traveling U.S. citizens. CNN Business. Hold on, man. Cut it off, man. Cut it off. Homeland Security wants to use facial recognition on traveling U.S. citizens. The Department of Homeland Security wants to be able to use facial recognition technology to identify all people entering and leaving the United States, including U.S. citizens. In a recent filing, the Department of Homeland Security proposed changing existing regulations, quote, to provide that all travelers, including U.S. citizens, may be required to be photographed upon entry and or departure, end quote, from the United States, such as at airports. Michael Hardin, Director of Exit Entry Policy and Planning at the DHS, told CNN Business that the rule is in the, quote, final stages of clearance, end quote. But because it hasn't yet been published, it won't go into effect until after a period of public comment, he said. Facial recognition technology, which typically matches an image of a person from a photo or video with a still image of them in a database, is becoming increasingly common in airports throughout the world as governments and airlines use it for security and check-in purposes. The United States government in particular has used facial recognition for the past 20 years or so, although it has only recently ramped up biometric boarding at airports since the mid-aughts. Okay. Any non-U.S. citizen traveling the United States gets their picture taken and fingerprints scanned on arrival, but this has not been a requirement for U.S. citizens. In 2017, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to accelerate a full rollout of airport biometrics for all domestic and international travelers. This was also supported by the Obama administration. Yet, while the Department of Homeland Security said the proposed regulation change is meant to help spot criminals and prevent travel document fraud, the American Civil Liberties Union noted on Monday that the filing contradicts U.S. Customs and Border Protection's previous statement that U.S. citizens would not be subject to such surveillance. Travelers, including U.S. citizens, should not have to submit to invasive biometric scans simply as a condition of exercising their constitutional right to travel. This is the senior policy analyst, Jay Stanley, for the American Civil Liberties Union. The government's insistence on hurtling forward with a large-scale deployment of this policy for surveillance technology raises profound privacy concerns. Biometric entry-exit has been recommended, but not widely enforced since the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996 and the 9/11 Commission report, the official report into the 2001 terror attacks in New York City and Washington, D.C., concluded that a biometric entry-exit screening system for foreign nationals was integral to U.S. national security. Bang, bang. I don't know what y'all think. I can tell you what you think. I mean, all y'all U.S. citizens, y'all better watch out. I'm just playing. I love y'all. Welcome to the foundation, y'all. How y'all doing? I trust y'all are feeling well. I trust you had a great week, man. Got a great show lined up for you. Appreciate you sticking around for current events. Absolutely appreciate you sticking around for current events. Because, you know, it's in the news, man. We need to know what's going on. My homeboy, who's an ex-Army intelligence officer, he taught me how to look at the news and how to draw from it. And, you know, I don't really make any accusations or allegations. I just read the news, and y'all seem to be making the correct inferences. You know, what's going down. Y'all ready for this, man? The public is locking down the death of CPNs. I mean, and I know you're like, hold on, man, wait. I didn't even get a CPN. So what do you mean the death of CPNs? What are you talking about? And I know some of y'all are like, nah, man, look, check this out, man. It's illegal to require a social security number for any benefit. And I don't even need a CPN, so what does it matter? Some of y'all are like,